and how we might hold it within a spiritual context. It's interesting when we look at the spiritual life, it's very easy to think that, well, Jesus just doesn't want us to lead. He talks about, the servant heart. He talks about those who see themselves as least and hold that will actually be greatest in heaven. So it's easy to kind of shift that around, but to really sort of shift it around in a way that means we back away from any leadership. But the reality is we have a really important role to play in leadership, be that in our communities, in our families, be that in our nation, be that in our world. We have a very important voice that really matters. And the voice that comes through is this very simple, very basic concept, but a truly beautiful one that deals with how Christians should see leadership. And it's this idea of servant leadership. Servant leadership. Now, what is a servant leader? Well, a servant leader, they're very much somebody who has a great deal of humility, but at the same time has a real desire to serve, a real desire to make a difference, a real desire to see the world shift. And that could be in a million different ways. And it could be, establishing a really successful company that's really trying to help people, really trying to solve problems. And that's why it's doing so well. It could be somebody who enters politics for the same reason, to really try to help people, really try to make a difference. It could be a doctor who's willing to walk that extra mile simply because that's what you do. It's that tremendously powerful idea of servant leadership. And again, humility and also this will to really do well. I think those two things can go together, and they can go together in very, very powerful ways. There's a beautiful line here from the book Heaven and Hell talking about leadership, and here it's talking about how leadership might look in heaven. But it's a great little summary of it. It's talking about how leadership in heaven looks. It says it comes from a heartfelt wishing better for others than for ourselves, serving others for the sake of their happiness with no thought of reward, simply out of love. So we serve out of love, and we're looking to really help other people as best we can. And again, I love the little three-part trilogy from Adam Grant that I think is really true. There's fixing, there's helping, and there's serving. And fixing and helping sometimes can be very ego-driven. It's, fixing, obviously, like nobody wants to be fixed by another person. Helping, that one's okay some of the time, but we got to be really careful. I know I sometimes shudder a little bit when somebody's like a little too helpful, because it means they have an agenda. But service starts at a much softer place. And that's where servant leaders really come from. They're not looking at it for reward. They're not looking for accolades. They're looking to lead institutions and organizations that really make a difference out there in the world, that they can look back with a sense of deep, humble pride that, yeah, you know what? Look what the Lord's been able to accomplish through us. Isn't this a beautiful thing? So friends, as you go about today, pretty simple. Like, think about servant leadership. And if you get called to lead something, don't get all anxious for like, oh, I got nothing to offer. Yeah, go into it open. Go into it with an idea that you're here to serve and you're here to be a servant leader. And just start to see what happens and start to see all those questions open all kinds of beautiful things up. So that's the thought for today, friends. Thought on servant leadership. Wishing you all the very best. And now we're going to do an exercise of that. And now we're going to do is we're going to come in for a soft landing. We're going to do ring the prayer bell. We're going to do a little meditation, a little prayer, and a little blessing. So let's get a little breath first. And the prayer bell. A meditation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. Take care, dear friends. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a